So first up, we're going to
Best
announce or
fighting
deliberate.
game.
Yes, we're going to do best fighting. Thank you, Greg. These are some very good title cards you have here.
I am.
So
got LucasArts.
There were some fighting games that came out this year, but I think there was one that maybe stood out above all the other ones. Did anyone have any nominations that they'd like to put out there into the universe?
I mean, should we just jump right into the two?
I think there's only one.
There's two. Yeah, there were two fighting games that came out this year, right? So that's basically narrows it down.
I mean, did anyone? Are we? Is there any other game other than Guilty Gear that we want to talk about, or no?
I mean, yeah, this is a slow year, but like, dang, if I'm just gonna jump right into it. Even if this was a thick year for fighting games, Guilty Gear Strive is perhaps one of the most impressive that I've ever played. And I said this when I reviewed the game. It changed the way the industry is handling fighting games now. Since Guilty Gear Strive has come out, there hasn't been a single fighter that's been announced that didn't include talking about how it's going to use rollback netcode. That is like the effect that this game has had. People have seen the light. People have seen what good netcode can be if you start on it from day one. And it's like there's no going back. If you say delay based netcode anywhere in your pitch, it's dead on arrival because people know now.
And that's despite the return of offline tournaments. Like it's just for the purpose of having a healthy game, having a healthy online experience is super important in 2021. It seems like Guilty Gear. Does that game have crossplay, TJ?
It does it has cross generation. I can't remember if it has. Yeah.
Okay.
It was PS4 and PS5, I think.
Okay, that's cool. But I think that's huge because there's a ton of PS4s in the world. So I'm just more speaking to like a player base health kind of standpoint. It seems like they took some of that into consideration. I know it's running on Unreal Engine. And it looks amazing. I thought the presentation's outstanding in it.
The soundtrack is killer too.
Yeah, the soundtrack's excellent. Yeah.
When I first heard, oh, go ahead.
It's so pretty.
I was taken back by the presentation in the game too. Like it seems like they learned a lot from Dragon Ball Fighters that they brought to this game. Like it just seems snappier, more fun, easy to get in and out of. And yeah, the art design is outstanding in this game. It stands above every other fighter that came out this year. I don't want to throw too much shade at like Nickelodeon All Stars or whatever, but yeah, this is my vote.
I mean, the only points I would dock from it, or if this was a competitive year, is the lobby system. Like, I don't know what it is about Arc system and like these Avatar weird lobby systems they're doing or whatever. But as someone who's ran online tournaments, it makes it such a pain to try and coordinate as a TO when you've got to get people to literally walk to a mutual space in a room to start a match. So that's a little bit.
If you want to do player lobbies, you have to like grab a room code and then share it with
yeah.
And then they have to type in the room code and head for that lobby. They can't just like look you up and then challenge you to a match through the like online account system.
That was when we did it for the stimulus games. That was definitely like the most confusing part of everything, was just having to walk everyone through making their little characters and then getting those characters like into the house so that they can all stand in line.
And then you select your character in the lobby before you even start the match. You can't just like pick your character in a character select before the match.
So wait, you can't see what your opponent has chosen before you pick? Like you can't counterpick or anything?
You'll see what they've picked once they've confirmed that they're on. Once they jump on one of the match pads, but you you lock your character in before you even like confirm that you're ready to start a match.
But that means like you wouldn't be able to counterpick or whatever.
Correct.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's a bit odd, but once you get into the game and you're actually fighting, it's great. I've like Faust has always been like the character I played with, and they're great in this game. And just
I like the characters. They're funny. They got like
Mhm.
attitude. They're interesting. You know, they say funny things. Like it's it's engaging. You know, there's some fighters out there that are just kind of basic, and you don't really care. But like, I think I could find a main that I actually enjoy playing and enjoy listening to their dialogue and stuff. Like it's cool.
And a lot of these are
really,
oh, go ahead.
They all play really differently too,
Mhm.
which is something I like. Like each character feels unique. It's not like you're like, oh, these are the Ryu Ken Akuma sort of characters, and these are the Ihan de Blanca things. It's like, oh, here's a girl with 2 floating swords that will wreck shit with that. And here's like what Soul Bad Guy, like kind of the more traditional archetype character, you know. And then like I mentioned, Faust just like throwing crazy shit at you, like cutting you with a scalpel.
Yes, and like even the DLC characters, every one of the DLC characters has had the weirdest gimmicks to them that is just completely unlike anything that is already in the roster. Goldlewis Dickinson, the guy that won Red Bull Kumite pretty recently, a character has basically one move that can be done 8 different ways, depending on how you do the sweep input. It's you can like if you do a lower sweep, it's he does a low sweep with he has a giant coffin. Or if you do a high sweep, he'll like swing the coffin downwards. And that's just one move with 8 different inputs on it. And like that's so weird. It's like it's also like a meme in the community. And that's another thing is that like the they are so good at like handling their community and building things that make the community happy and do things that are like not just for the old school fans, but like trying to invite new people in. That was a big part of Strive, was like rebuilding this game from the ground up to be accessible to people that have never touched a Guilty Gear before.
I mean, that's if they're not playing you though.
Well, that's the thing though, is that there is a full-on tutorial system in the game that is just full of like hands-on tutorials to handle every single aspect of this game. If you wanted to learn Guilty Gear like as well as I know Guilty Gear, you only need to go to that tutorial system and spend the time to like learn the things. It's all there. And I think that's a great idea because not only does it tell you what these things are and how they're used, it like has you do them.
Sweet. Does anyone?
And this game was delayed, right, TJ? This was it was originally supposed to be a 2020 release or an early, and then it became like a early 2021, and I think they even delayed it again to June, right?
They originally didn't start development with rollback netcode, and then they stopped and started to build a rollback netcode system from scratch. And it was the best idea that they could have done because it made this game so much stronger in the ecosystem.
In this year where we've seen a lot of games released that probably needed more time in the oven, I think it's a good thing to see Guilty Gear Strive take that time and literally add value to that game and add useful life to that game for years probably by taking that 6 months, you know? And I think there's some companies out there that could learn a lesson from that. But yeah, it's also weird because like this is a year where we did not get a game from NetherRealm really. Street Fighter V's kind of on the way out. Smash even is done. You know, like it's. I don't want to say it's over, but it's done. You know, like we got the final DLC character for Smash. We got the last Sakurai Direct. You know, like it really is Guilty Gear's year. And admittedly, Nickelodeon had a chance to kind of show us something, but yeah, this seems like an undeniable winner here. So I think we should. Yep, go ahead,
Ozzy. We're gonna remember Nickelodeon more for It's really the first game in like a decade since PlayStation did like PlayStation Battle Royale All Stars, whatever that game was, that decided, hey, we have a bunch of characters. Let's throw them together in a fighter. And now we're going to see a bunch of copycats. We're already seeing WB coming out with their thing next year.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be more what it's remembered for. It's
Well,
not going to be remembered for being a good game, because there's a lot of things wrong with it.
Like, and this is more of an esports perspective, or even just an esports fan perspective. Platform fighters are kind of looked down upon in the FGC, just in general. You know, Smash being the most notable one. So it's really weird for these companies to be like, we're going to market to esports. And it's like, people in the esports scene kind of hate platform fighters, and they tolerate Smash because it's very, very well balanced game, and it has a great, you know, large community. So it's really weird to see these companies that are, it seems like there's some boardroom decisions going on behind some of these
numbers,
games.
You know, like Smash, I feel like has always been kind of like that cousin that comes by for like a holiday or something. You see like every once in a while for the FGC, you tolerate them, but
yeah, even Evo has excluded that game multiple times in the past. You know, there was the Melee push in 2013 or whatever, but like, yeah, it just seems weird to me. Like, the companies might not realize what the scene really wants, and I'm not saying that like we want a Guilty Gear multiversus game. I don't think that would work either, but like, it's just really weird to see a lot of companies invest in platform fighters when platform fighters have never really been that big outside of Smash. It's odd.
One thing I want to close on is saying that, like, you mentioned that like Strive seemed to take notes from Dragon Ball Fighter Z, but I think it's actually like a chicken and egg thing where like those games pulled things from Guilty Gear Xrd.
Exactly.
And one thing I appreciate above anything else about Arc System Works is that they do not skimp when they launch the day one of a game. I have been so pissed off with companies leaving important elements out of their games on day one and going with this "we'll fix it down the line" approach. Arc System Works doesn't do that. They put everything in on day one, and then they either adjust, fix, or make it better from there. And Guilty Gear Strive has only just gotten better this year as time has gone on.
Yeah.
And
if you're on the console.
One of the smoother launches too, for the most part. I mean, there were a couple of issues, but overall, I think thinking back to like Street Fighter V launch, for example, that was atrocious. I think Guilty Gear had definitely a better experience for players overall, and more of a game plan for how to work with feedback too.
I would agree with Chris's point though. Like, a lot of fighting games, especially from these the Japanese devs, tend to stink on PC for a while when they launch. But it seems like the FGC is completely invested on the PS5 as the platform for tournaments and stuff. So it's like, I think it's a valid point to make, Chris, but it's not unique to just this game in the fighting game scene.
PC's always been the outlier for fighting games.
Even like sometimes the Mortal Kombat games run like complete crap on PC.
Yeah,
you mentioned Street Fighter 5 was bad at launch. Like, it's not unique to Arc in this case, but yeah, I would like for it to run better on PC, but it runs very well on PS5.
I will say they would have had some competition had King of Fighters not been delayed. Originally, it was supposed to come out this year.
We'll be talking about that one next year for sure.
Yeah, and like, I think, I don't necessarily think NetherRealm delayed anything this year, but they certainly didn't release a game this year. And there was a lot of hype around, what was it, the DC fandom thing? Like, people were thinking that was going to be an announcement, and like Ed Boon was there and everything. So yeah, I think that there's like a hole in fighting games right now, and Guilty Gear definitely filled it and did it very well. So let's put it to a vote. I think we're pretty much unanimous here, but we'll start. David.
TJ made a great argument. I'll go Guilty Gear.
Denny.
Yeah, I'm all in on GG.
Donovan.
Yeah, GG.
Greg.
GG Strive. Yeah.
TJ.
GG, shake my hand.
Ozzy.
GG, have fun.
GG.
Bill.
Guilty Gear.
Sam.
Guilty Gear.
Blake.
Guilty Gear.
I am voting for Guilty Gear Strive. I know it's a shock to everyone. And Chris?
Guilty Gear.
Guilty Gear Strive. Our first Shacknews Award of 2021 for Best Fighting Game of 2021 goes to Guilty Gear Strive. And there's your gavel. That's how you know it's official. Congratulations to Arc System. Is it Arc System Works or Softworks? I always screw that up.
Arc System Works.
Too.
It's Bethesda Softworks, I'm thinking. Arc System Works. Congratulations on releasing a game with solid netcode, really solid presentation, dynamic fighters. It's just fun. It's a great game. You folks should check it out.